Hi everyone. So today's goal is I can use the standard algorithm to multiply a 3-digit number by another 3-digit number. So if you look over to the left, I have written step by step what you need to do to use the standard algorithm and what it's going to look like. And as I explain this, these steps over here will make a lot more sense. I have color coded them and it looks like a lot right now, but just stay with me, okay? So number one, I always want you to put number with the most digits on top. And since we're dealing with two numbers that both have the same digits, it doesn't really matter which one you put on the top or the bottom. But like when you do a 3-digit by a 2-digit number, you want to put the 2-digit number on the bottom and the 3-digit number on the top, just so you don't have to do more steps than what's required. And it will get a little confusing with your placeholder zeros if you do it that way. And you'll see why here in a minute. But so now that we've put our numbers, one on top, one on bottom, we've multiplied, I like to also line up my place value just because for people who don't have the best handwriting, we don't want our numbers to get unaligned or in places where they're not actually supposed to be. So using columns or even using Miss Fimple's notebook paper trick, you can always line up your numbers correctly. So let's start using the standard algorithm. So we have to know our basic multiples and multiplication facts. That's what's really going to help us because the standard algorithm, while it is a lot of steps, once you master those steps and once you have mastered your multiplication fluency, it becomes a lot easier to, do multiplication. So we're going to take it column by column, row by row. So you kind of look over here, and it says to multiply the ones by the ones. And you're probably thinking, there is not a 1 in this number. What it's talking about is the place value. We need to multiply the number that's in our ones place value at the very bottom, right here, this number 4, okay? We have to multiply this ones place by this ones place. So we have to multiply our 4 and our 5. So we're going to multiply 4 by 5, okay, and I'm going to highlight this. We're going to multiply 4 by 5 first. So 4 by 5 is 20. You carry the 2, drop your 0. And that's for any 2-digit number. Whenever you have a 2-digit number, let's just say 20 because we just did it, you're always going to carry the number in the tens place to the next number over, and you're going to drop the number in the ones place below the little dividing line we have right here. So we carried our 2, dropped our 0 because 5 times 4 was 20. Now we're going to multiply our ones by our tens. So we're going to take this 4 in our ones place, and now we're going to multiply, and then we're going to add 4 times 2 plus 2. Okay, that's why it's important to make sure that we are carrying over correctly. So 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. 10 is a 2-digit number. You carry the digit that's in your tens place, which was 1, drop your 0. Now we're going to do our ones times our hundreds. So we take this 4, we're going to multiply it over here by this 3. We're also going to add this 1 that we carried over. So now we're going to do 4 times 3, which is 12, plus 1 is going to give us 13. Okay, so we have 1,300. Now, just because Miss Fimple likes to keep everything kind of organized, once I'm done with those numbers at top and I know that I'm moving on to another place value to multiply, we're going to kind of just cross those out. Okay, you can do it however you want. We're going to cross those numbers out. And I'm going to erase some in this highlight just so we don't get confused whenever we start multiplying. So just give me time to do that really quick. Okay? So now we are moving on to our tens place. If you look down here, after we multiply our ones place by our hundreds place, we're going to need to add a placeholder 0. you add 1 placeholder 0 because you're moving to the tens place. And in the number 10, you should have just 1 0. So that's why you put 1 placeholder 0. I always like to put a smiley face to show that that's the placeholder 0. He's smiling because he's just chilling. He's having a good time. So we have our placeholder 0. And now we look to the digit on the bottom that's in our tens place. The digit in our tens place on the bottom is 3. Okay, so we're going to start by multiplying our tens by our ones. The 5 is in our ones place at the top. So we're going to do 3 times 5. 3 times 5 is going to be 15. Okay, you carry your 1. You drop your 5. Okay, now we're going to take our tens place digit, which is 3, and we're going to multiply it by the other digit on top that's in our tens place, which is 2. But we're also going to have to add that 1. I'm going to run out of room at the top. We'll get there when we get there, though. Okay, so we're going to do 2 times 3, which is 6, plus 1 is 7. Now we're going to do 3 times 3, which is 9. Okay, we multiplied our 3 in the tens by our 3 in the hundreds, and 3 times 3 was 9. So we're just going to drop our 9 down here. Okay, but I'm not done yet. There is still a number in the hundreds place on the bottom that we have not yet multiplied by. So I'm going to take this number that I carried up top, and I'm going to kind of just mark it out because I don't need it anymore. Now we're moving on to the hundreds. Before we can get to our hundreds, just kind of like how we moved to our tens place, when we move to the hundreds place, we have to add 2 placeholder zeros because we're multiplying technically this next row by 100. So now that I've added my 2 placeholder zeros, I'm going to move to my 5 now. We have to multiply our digit on the bottom that's in the hundreds place by the digit at the top that's in its ones place. So we're going to do 5 times 5, which is 25. You carry the 2, drop your 5. Now you're going to do your hundreds times your tens, which the 2 is in the tens at the top. So you're going to do 5 times 2. But don't forget that 2 you added up top. So you have to do 5 times 2, which is 10, plus 2, which is 12. So you carry the 1 over, drop the 2. 5 times 3 now, because we just moved on to our hundreds times our hundreds. Hundreds times our hundreds, and then plus 1. So 5 times 3 is 15. Plus 1 is going to be 16. So you just write your 16 over here. Now we get to do the fun part, and we get to add all of our numbers up together. All these zeros are 0. All these zeros plus 5 is 5. 3 plus 7 is 10, plus 5 is 15. Carry the 1, drop the 5. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 9 is 11. Plus 2 more is going to be 13. Carry the 1, drop the 3. 1 plus 6 is 7, and then 1 is just 1. So your final product is 173,550. So these are all of our steps. I've kind of color-coded them. We did our placeholder zeros. We did our hundreds times our ones, hundreds times our tens, hundreds times our hundreds. And then we added our partial products, which are just right over here. These would be considered your partial products down below, to get our final product. And that was using the standard algorithm to multiply a 3-digit number by another 3-digit number. And if you were just to multiply a 3-digit number by another 2-digit number, you would just stop here at this placeholder 0. You wouldn't have to go on to add the other 2 placeholder zeros. But there's that. everyone have such a great day.